dear charming ladies, wise gentlemen, and other wonderful human beings out there. Welcome to the museum and Friday night show with Sabaton. This show is first of its kind, maybe the last one as well. What do I mean? Last one? Yes, this might be the talk show to end all talk shows. We will see about that later. Now, let me introduce myself first. My name is Timo Isoaho, and I come from Finland, which according to the current researches is the happiest place in the world. By the way, on this list, on the same list, Sweden is on the 7th place. But without further ado, let's get into more important things. So please welcome for the show the handsome fellows of the Swedish heavy metal band Sabaton.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you doing, gentlemen?
As happy as a Finn.
Good to hear that.
First place. So it is late night show, after all.
Yeah. We're getting tired, or are we?
No.
We just started.
We're here in a museum at the night. So, a night at the museum.
Can you tell a little bit more about this place?
Oh, well, we are here now. In this museum, we have a lot of activities that are going to happen here in a couple of days. And we're going to present our new album that we're going to talk a little bit about here as well. And we're going to meet some journalists here.
Good to hear.
Yeah, we've been here all first day today, all day long, doing various media in preparations for this weekend, basically, where we present our new album to the world.
All right, let's talk about the upcoming album a little bit later, but let's have some other things first. So, I mean, guys, it's been quite strange times, and I guess you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to mention the word, maybe.
But yeah, it's a tragedy that, I mean, Finland became #1 on the happy list. It's
bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Yeah,
it's been disturbing our career for a year and a half now.
Yeah, 7th place.
Yeah, we can't focus on anything else.
I think you pulled us down to 7th.
Are you calling me cranky and old?
Yeah.
Maybe that's right. Yeah.
You need to move somewhere, and then we'll just bounce back up to number 4.
No, I live in Norway now.
Yeah,
I'm not
okay.
affecting your statistics. It's your fault.
Well,
fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough. They look.
I know nothing. I'm from Barcelona.
Well, I'm from the north of Sweden. It's pretty close to Finland. I feel pretty happy, and I think that's why.
That's why you're so happy always.
Yeah.
I guess that's.
I have some Finnish blood in me.
Yeah, so. that has to be the reason, I guess.
I think so. Yeah.
For your happiness?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm happy all the time, except when I'm unhappy.
Right. Then you're equally.
Then I'm unhappy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the Swedish part of me.
But what is happiness for you? No, kidding.
Being Finnish.
Really deep conversations about happiness.
Yes. Well, hey, let's get dead serious. As I mentioned, it's been quite special times. So when you look back on the last 1.5 years, basically, what comes to your mind? How has your lives been? And not so much maybe Sabaton-related stuff, but more personal stuff and so on.
The weirdest thing, I think, is it feels like times move fast, and yet it doesn't. I mean, or a lot of time passes, but nothing gets done. And even though I get stuff done, whatever it might be, it still feels like I get nothing done. And maybe it's because, for the past 15 years or more, maybe I've measured, how much I've done in a year from a career perspective. If it's, touring, what festivals you played and what tours you did and stuff like that. Obviously, we've been able to record an album which felt amazingly good, but it's been a really weird feeling.
Mm-hmm. The others?
But I mean, we have been keeping very busy considering. I think this band, one, understood pretty early that this is going to take a long time, and we're not going to sit around and wait for stuff. So there's been a good amount of creative work for sure. I mean,
A lot of music recorded.
a lot of music recorded,
Music videos.
music videos. So in a sense of that, I'm personally very happy that we could do that. That we thought about it, made a plan, where this comes a lot down to you, and made really good stuff, you know. Personally, for a musician that's used to touring, you know, I speak for everybody in that line of work, I guess, that's really weird. And we're not used to it. So you really have to adapt yourself, and it takes a long time. You know, we started doing this for a reason, not to be home that much. I love being home, but not for a year and a half. That's not who I am, you know. You need both, you know. You need to be out on the road. We need to do what we love to be a normal, good person. And then you get home and you have some of that, and then you go back out again. But too much of one of them, I don't think it's very good. Obviously, I know that.
Yeah, we've been as busy as it's possible, and thanks to always pushing and always trying, we were able to do a few shows at least. Whenever local restrictions allowed us to do a show, we were there and did a show. And that was so uplifting in the middle of that. And I think each and every time we had some little show or something happening, it gave us strength to go on for a bit longer. But yeah, we all miss being on the road. We all miss seeing the fans. We all miss the kind of life we got used to. And there are many things, as Hannes said before, but one of the things that makes our life complete is the possibility that we can do what we wanted to do. And the last 1.5 years we couldn't, really.
Well, not in the way we wanted anyway. Yeah. But then you have to adapt, you know. Either you can, okay, we lay down now and we surrender, you know. But we didn't.
We tried and we pushed. We did live streamings, we did concerts, we even did a tour. And before all of this was over. So we did that, and we did a lot of music. So yeah, we did a whole album, which feels absolutely great. And we did all the PR plans and everything that we possibly could for that album, and we pushed through.
And also coming out of this, you know, eventually with a good feeling that we did what we could. I think that's maybe one of the most important things.
So Tommy, how happy have you been during the last 1.5 years then?
Well, I mean, as they were saying, even though we haven't been out playing, we have been home a lot. But during this time, we've done a lot of other stuff. I mean, if it wasn't for this time not on the road, we maybe wouldn't have the time to record as many music videos as we did. A lot of promotion work that we've been doing, and a lot of recordings, songwriting. I mean, we've been busy, even though we have been home, or to say, away from, you know, touring. We still been working quite a lot. And yes, of course, every now and then you feel, like Hannes said, that staying home for a couple of months in a row, it's a little bit too much. You want to go away, you want to tour, you want to really live this life that you're working so hard to live. Touring, being a musician, you know, doing this that we haven't been able to do. But I have a good feeling that we're close, you know, to getting back to the normal lives where we can start touring again. We actually, well, we did start touring for a short time, but still.
Well, you guys have been busy, that's for sure, but I still think that you might have had some extra free time now and then during the last 1.5 years. So has there been maybe some new hobbies, such as collecting stamps maybe, or something else?
Well, I did build a very, very big model of the Titanic. It took me like 3 weeks, working around 4 to 6 hours a day.
Really?
Yeah.
That's worrying.
No. It was very, very relaxing. I just
That's
found...
why we couldn't reach him for 3 weeks.
I found this podcast that I never heard before. I started to listen to it, a couple of episodes, 1 hour episodes, listen to it and paint. It was very big, which means that it was a lot of tiny details. And I had to paint everything myself, which was fun.
Your mom didn't help you, you mean?
No, not this time.
Okay.
Not on this one.
That's good.
The last one, she helped me quite a lot, actually. It was a smaller one. No, so I've been teaching guitar and vocal lessons on Skype during this time because I find teaching very, very fun. I really like to do that. To start doing that again, taking up drawing, learn how to draw. So when I've had time, I've always been occupied doing other stuff, writing music, watching a lot of movies, So
Sounds like you've been busy.
I've been busy, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we also realized a couple of other ideas that we've been working on or wanted to do for a very long time. One of them being that we launched a magazine together. I mean, you have been writing a lot of articles for the magazine. I guess a lot of the viewers don't know that Timo is, this one, here we go. That you have been...
You forced me.
Yeah, we forced you. We forced you to do some of these horrible interviews with band members and stuff. Yeah, with me. We've been able to do this. And
Issue number 1.
issue number 1 out of hopefully a lot.
Yeah, I was checking. Actually, you told me that because Metallica has this own magazine called So What. I'm not sure if it's coming out anymore, but at least I think there was 94 issues. So there's still way to go.
Yeah.
So we do 95 then.
Yeah, and
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Oh, we do 2 issues a year. You do the math, man.
47 years.
Oh God.
It's only like 48 years or something.
So I will be the only guy left in the band.
Well, okay. We have to probably release like 5 issues a year or something.
Yeah, we can move to that.
Let's see. Okay. Talking about heavy metal. Let's get seriously into heavy metal. What is your earliest memory related to heavy metal?
Earliest memory.
Yeah, any kind of memory, but heavy metal has to be involved.
Well, I can start. It's when I saw, I don't remember if it was We're Not Gonna Take It or I Wanna Rock, seeing it on Swedish television. When I was 4.
Music video.
Music video, yeah.
You were 4,
I think 3 or 4.
and your life changed then?
Well, I started liking metal. But I mean, I liked other music as well, and still do. But I think that's when
That's also when you
first
pooped
time
in your diaper for the first time.
Yeah. I think I was out of diapers by then, actually.
I don't think so, man.
We're about to start again soon, though.
You're getting closer and closer. I got you, man.
Thanks. You'll change it for me.
Okay, you started pretty well, 4 years old. How about the others?
Chris?
Well, I think it was when Maiden released their album called The Book of Shadows, like 4 years ago. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, really? I thought
it was called Book of Souls.
No.
that's Book of Shadows.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Everything.
yeah, I know. I just weirded that you.
Book of Souls is from the movie The Mummy.
Chris,
Which album?
No, the first time I heard was the Power Slave album, released in '84. Yes, that was
And how old were you in '84?
Oh, a little sperm, I think. Yeah, I was a little sperm. And
But with
I
the
managed
same hair.
to see the world 2 years later. So yeah, then I popped out like, "Hello, mom and dad, here I am." "Hello, creators," I said. Yeah.
I thought that 4 years old or young was like a pretty good thing, but that's pretty impressive.
No, but I was what was I, 6 or 7 years old. I was at a friend's place, and he got this CD from his older cousin. So he played it, and I grew up on Duran and Michael Jackson. So that was a little bit too heavy for me at first when he put it on, but then it came to the guitar solo when Adrian Smith plays, and I couldn't just understand what is that. I want to do that, exactly that part. I want to do that. So then I figured out it was guitar, so I ran back to my parents' place, and I told them I need a guitar. So I got a guitar for my, I think, 7th or 8th birthday. And then, yeah. Then
Downhill ever since.
Downhill ever since. Yes, so don't do this. Yeah.
Tommy?
Well, I mean, I started to listen to rock when I was 9 years old, you know, discovering Gary Moore and all of his discography, but it wasn't really heavy metal. It was more rock, blues. So I kept on listening to that until I was 14 or 15, I don't remember, when my cousin Peter, who you know always listened to Iron Maiden, which I didn't like at that time, and then he played me this song called Father Time with Stratovarius, and I said, wow, this is really cool, and that sound, what is that? It's a double bass drum. Okay, cool, I had never heard that before. So he sent me 2 Stratovarius albums, and I listened to them, Destiny and Episode from 95 and 98. So I listened to them, and from that day I knew, okay, this is what I'm gonna listen to, enjoy, and play from now on.
Just fast double bass.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's more power metal, not really heavy metal, but still metal.
Has the word metal in it.
It has word metal.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Powerful metal. Yeah.
Powerful
Honest?
metal.
Yeah, well, earliest memory, the only one I can think of was in my older cousin. Out of 2 cousins, he had a band, and they had the rehearsal place in their basement. And me and my younger cousin, we were absolutely under no circumstances allowed to go down there, because they would probably punch us. So as fast as him and his cool heavy metal friends left the house, me and my younger cousin, we would sneak down there and touch everything as much as we could.
Good to hear nothing changed.
Oh yeah, it's still the same. Except now I have the drum kit. But so he was in that basement, and he built his own PA system, speakers. And he said one day, like, okay, you can come down to the basement in the rehearsal place and I'm gonna play you something. And he played us demos from his band. They were called Enforced. Not the Enforced band that's around now, but the original one. And whatever demos they recorded, and then he put on Hell Patrol by Painkiller, or by Judas Priest from the Painkiller album. And that was a mind-blowing experience, same as Tommy had.
Well, it's a good song, so.
It's a great song, but you know, you are not able to comprehend of what's coming at you, you know? It's like a wall of sound, and it just
Hits you.
Yeah, it hits you, but it's also exciting, it's a bit scary, all of these emotions. So from there you want to find out what exactly makes these sounds, right? So I guess. And then he also played a lot of Nightwish, which I thought was horrible. Back then.
With the previous singer, older singer, right?
I guess it was the original singer, but I since then changed my mind.
Yeah, I think the newest singer is pretty good in Nightwish.
He's good looking too.
Per?
Yeah, well,
Metal memories?
Yeah, okay. So I was growing up listening to anything my sister gave me, like secondhand music, and whatever that was on the radio. When it wasn't hot anymore, she gave it to me. So I was listening to yesterday's news, pretty much. Until my neighbor one day he came and said, "Hey, to my sister, don't make him a stupid idiot. I'm gonna save him now." So and he had in his like at home he had a home studio with a lot of guitar amplifiers, and he played me some Iron Maiden, and actually he played along to Iron Maiden with his guitar and was like, yeah, and then he was surrounded by cool posters of Iron Maiden, of course, and then it was like, yeah, this is it. And the next day I went to buy I couldn't afford the full album, so I bought the CD single for Run to the Hills. Mm-hmm. That was my first record I bought for myself.
He's that old.
Yeah.
I'm that old.
So, yeah, sounds like that. So, another memories. What's the first memory related to Sabaton? Oh. Any kind of, maybe, you know, inventing even the name, band of name or whatever. Earliest memory related to Sabaton.
Wow. I mean, there is a few things that actually happened before Sabaton became Sabaton. Mm-hmm. And the first, like, let's say, formation of the band, I remember that we had a drummer, and because he had a party in his parents' house, and people came and pretty much ruined his whole house, so he had to sell his drum kit, and he by then he couldn't continue to play in the band. And so then that was a quite memory that came to my mind, but it's a little bit before Sabaton, but it led into the guy who came after. He introduced Joachim, so it was for good that this guy didn't have a drum kit at home anymore. But the first thing about Sabaton, I mean, I remember when we were rehearsing and like Joachim was singing for the first time. I remember us walking out, and I remember one of the guitar players, then he said, I don't like his singing at all. I wanted this to be high-pitched vocals. I wanted a power metal singer. I said, no, it sounds pretty cool because it's unique, and let's keep going like this. And the guy actually has some tunes. And that's kind of on the way it went. Yeah. That's my first memory that I can come up with. Our first rehearsal, I think. We played The Beast, if I'm not mistaken, by Twisted Sister. And you had a few, you had parts of Shadows, I think.
Yeah, Shadows was mostly written before, yeah.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but most of it.
And I think we rehearsed it, kind of.
Was that like an audition, or was it you were already in the band?
I was coming in as a keyboarder, pretty much, and I was pretty much invited to join in, and you know, let's see, we need a keyboarder, see if we like each other, sort of. And we just kept on rehearsing, and that singing thing came sort of as my way of showing when we had the song Shadows, like this is the vocal melodies I had intended. So I was never intended to sing at all, actually. But yeah, back in the days, late 90s. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How about the others?
Well, my first memory of Sabaton was in the Sweden Rock magazine. When you have a subscription, you get the CD where they have one song from a new band or a new album release. And there was the song Prima Victoria from Sabaton. I never heard of that band. I thought that song was very good. So I listened to it a lot when I was planting trees one summer out in the woods.
Yeah, we are good for the environment.
Yeah, of course. So I was listening to that song quite a lot, actually. And then I saw them at Sweden Rock Festival in 2005. And I only heard that song, so I didn't know what to expect. And I remember that I thought they were really good live, especially the drummer at that point. I thought, wow, he can really, it was so fun to see a drummer moving around, not only sitting there, but it was head banging, and he had a mic and he was singing. It was a cool band. And then at that festival, I had the privilege to meet the band.
Okay. How was that?
Well, I'm sorry?
How was that?
It was fantastic.
Okay.
I even got a picture with them.
All right.
You still have it?
I still have that picture. It's before, phones existed. So It was a camera that you leave. Polaroid. No, what when you give it to someone.
Before phones existed, how long ago was this? You said.
Anyway, I took a photo, and then a couple of weeks later, I got it, printed out, and I still have that picture. It's a 17-year-old me, together with Sabaton. Joachim was very happy in that picture. I think he knew. I know why, because this is the guy who's gonna. Yes, one day. See you in 12 years, man.
So basically, the photo looks exactly like if you would stand next to them right now.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
If you want, I can maybe ask them to sign.
Yeah. You sure?
I am not. No promises, but okay. I know the guys.
You know the guys. Mm-hmm. No way. Yeah, so that's my first memory.
All right.
Sabaton.
Chris, any memories?
Yeah, actually, I did the military service back in the day, and I was driving a truck full of explosives, and
sounds good.
It sounds good. Yeah, it sounds really good. But that was my job, and my co-driver, he had this CD burned out with some new songs and everything, so he put it in, and it was Panzer Battalion and Prima Victoria, I think it was. And I was like, what the fuck is this? It sounds really cool. It's like, so we banged those two songs in the truck there. And then I realized there was a band called Sabaton. But then I finished the military service and everything, and then a few years went by and I forgot about it. And I was at the Wacken festival in 2008 to see Iron Maiden. And then I see like a name on the bill, like Sabaton. That was the band that we were playing in the truck. I need to go see them. That was a fun show, right? Mm-hmm. So that was the first time I saw the band live. I was at Wacken 2008, yeah. So that's my first memories. Yeah.
On something?
Yeah, my first memory is we played a festival together in Istanbul, Turkey.
Oh yeah,
2009,
you were never great.
Something like that. That's my first memory. These guys, there were some dudes with camo pants, and I first thought that he was a security guy from the festival.
I look Turkish? All right.
Yeah, but and then I realized, okay, it's a band, cool. And I went to see it, and I saw the crowd reaction, and I was very impressed by it. Yep, that's it.
Well, Wacken was mentioned, so let's move to the summer of 2019. I mean, we were talking about these early times. 2019, the band turned 20 years old. And the celebrations included the new album, The Great War, and the headlining spot on the Wacken Festival. Not only one stage, but two main stages. And the DVD is out now and so on. Everybody can see it also. But anyway, looking back now, which are some of the main memories related to that Wacken show?
Stress, I think. That's one of the things that was super, we had this opportunity to do something that was going to be so fun. And it's like type B fun. It wasn't type A fun, but it's fun when you do it and fun after. This is type B fun. It's actually fun once you've done it, but it might not be enjoyable during it, because I think it took me 80% of the show before I could actually enjoy it. Because there were so many things to remember. Okay, lights out there, make sure you're on that stage and not on this stage. New songs, I'm afraid I'm gonna forget lyrics. I gotta announce this person is coming in on stage. I gotta remember to do this, and the amount of crew and musicians we had on that day, it's way more than we normally would have, obviously. And even though we'd rehearsed it to make sure everything went smoothly, I mean, I was stressed the whole day. I was stressed when we were all going on stage, and while singing, I enjoyed myself, of course, but there was always this, fear of fucking up. So.
Yeah, but especially when you're filming it. I mean, if we just did the show, that would have been totally different. But now we're recording it as well. Yeah. We can't fuck up.
But you can fix it later.
It's like,
Chris, you can fix it later if you fuck up.
Oh,
yeah.
We had 80,000 witnesses.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, they're wrong.
Yeah, they're wrong.
Fake news.
Yeah, fake news. Never happened. Never happened.
Nobody knows more about the show than I do. For me, it was the opposite. For me, we rehearsed for this show. I mean, it was in the planning for years. And then we rehearsed for it for, well, how many, 5 days straight? Something like that, long time. And anybody that knows me personally, that's a long time. So I was, so here, basically, I knew that we were so prepared. I knew that my guys got my back and I got their back. So going up with that feeling, let's do it. You know, so for me it was the complete opposite actually, on that show, randomly out of all shows. So I could actually enjoy that one.
Yeah, it was very exciting. I mean, there was so much like I wanted to show with this, like so many people to prove wrong with it, and so many who over the years didn't think that Sabaton ever is gonna reach this level. So there was so much to, let's say, prove. But I also felt a little bit like Hannes, like we gonna do this. It will happen, and we will do something amazing here. But of course, going around and seeing, and as I'm involved in every little detail happening around everything, I was scared about things which actually maybe doesn't matter, but they matter right there, right then. For example, would somebody spot one of the extra band members that we have, and maybe the rumors will go out, or maybe somebody will spoil it. We took a lot of precautions, not that this would not leak what we were gonna do. We kept it very silent. We didn't inform the Wacken team at all. We took complete control of their entire system, so we basically only came with 2 cables. Left and right speaker, and that's it. The rest we brought, all the cables, everything, because we couldn't give them any input list, any information about what we're gonna do, and we cleared the stages and did our show. And that was to ensure that it wouldn't leak, that people wouldn't talk about it and spoil the surprise, because one of the highlights of that show was to present what show it's gonna be, and to see the reactions of people. And if that reaction would have been blown, the whole thing wouldn't have happened the same way, and it wouldn't be like that. So, but it all went down like it was supposed to be, and that was absolutely amazing.
Well, you ran from the first stage. I mean that you started the show and you ran from that stage to the another stage
Several times.
Yeah, but I mean when the old members joined you guys, the curtains, or I don't remember if it was curtains, but anyway, you went there and spotlights went on you, and you told the crowd what's going on. That must have been a pretty special moment.
It was one of those moments when you look forward to a little bit, give the finger to some people who I knew were watching, and also to give a big thanks to a lot of people who made sure that we were coming there. So it felt very special, and that was quite spectacular and special moment. There was a lot of other things surrounding here. I mean, some small little things. I mean, I remember we also had we had Tina with us, and I mean, it was pretty funny that we never rehearsed with her at all, and she just walked onto the stage during the sound check, and we had to keep that secret as well. So we had the stage like hidden from people. She walked up and she, okay, I'm good. and then she knew the songs and it worked. And that was great. I mean, I had no idea how she was gonna do. And that's always a little bit nervous. I mean, she's also gonna introduce one of the songs, and it was like, all right, let's see what happens. That also went down pretty well. And but I think that the summer prepared us a little bit for it. The big shows that we did the same summer kind of led up to this. And I mean, we also had the weird or strange show in France,
Hellfest,
where we kind of showed that no matter what, the show has to go on. And having that in our back, knowing that even without a singer, we did a show. Knowing that, felt like, okay, then we will make this happen one way or another. We're gonna get to the end, because we just made the Hellfest show. So I think we can push through, and we did.
Well, as I mentioned, the band turned 20 years old back then, 2019, so this is an unfair question, but when you look back on those 20 years, which is the absolute highlight? I know it's very unfair. If you have to pick one moment from the band's past years, but I can start. One of the highlights for me related to Sabaton was the thing when I heard that you all have Van Halen tattoos. That's one of the good moments.
That's one of the very good moments.
We had it before they were cool.
That's a great story. I think it's quite long, but I don't know.
It's quite long, yeah.
So next time maybe.
Yeah.
So if you ever meet up these guys, please ask about the Van Halen tattoos.
We will be happy to tell you.
And show.
And show you. And show you. Right, Tommy?
Yeah, of course.
So okay, but back to that highlight thing, it might be too hard, but if you can come up with something, please tell.
I do have one. I don't think it's one of some what people would expect. I might have told this story before, but I remember when you start out as a band, you're a young musician, you're always sort of comparing your own music, judgmentally, if you're any good. You're trying to improve, you're trying to see what could you do better, and you're usually a lot of disappointments because you spend a lot of time writing a song and recording it, and it doesn't turn out as good as you think. You could blame the audio engineer or whatever, and usually it's the case of the band, And one of the first times when my reality surpassed my expectations was when they had this crazy idea that we're gonna do, church-style harmonies on a song. And I remember explaining it. We were actually recording, and Per was sitting at the control desk because we had Tommy that, and he had gone home for the night, but we were doing such long recording sessions. So Per was actually sitting by the mixing desk, pressing record basically and patching channels. And me...
And rewinding, because by then there was no computer.
Yeah, right.
Tapes.
It was that tape, so yes.
Rewind, record, rewind, playback.
And then me and the guitarist were standing in the studio room, and I had this idea like, what are you talking about now? Are we going to sing like you? No. We're going to sing, through the gates of hell as we make our way to heaven, do not see lions. And then we're going to sing, through the gates of hell as we make, and show them the harmonies. And we recorded them, and we sort of never heard everything together. And I had an idea of how it was going to sound, and I was hoping it was going to sound good. But when we had recorded all of it, and Per put up all 3 channels together, that's probably one of the happiest and proudest moments for me. Because that was, pardon the language, but holy fucking shit, that's cool or good, Goosebumps all over the body. I have a few of those from the studio, of those moments when that makes me happy at least.
It's difficult to know, that, but I think the Sweden Rock Festival show is also one that will always remain. It's also one of the reasons why we haven't returned to Sweden Rock Festival for so many years, because it was maybe not possible to redo it in a better way, because I think that show was kind of it meant so much. It was like home area. The Wacken show, yes, but for us growing up in Sweden, Sweden Rock is a bigger show. And to have the headline slot,
To played every stage.
Yeah, we
On our way up,
we played our way there, and it even started long before we even had the band Sabaton. The first year that it was called Sweden Rock Festival, I was there. I had a printed out cassette cover of the Sabaton demo. And it was like, okay, and I met one of the guys organizing the festival in one of the beer tents, and I told him that, you know, one day we're gonna play there, and he said, no, that's not gonna happen. Yeah, well, that's like, what, how many years down the line? 14 years later, I guess. And there we are. And that was kind of spectacular, and I remember that he was also there on the stage as we walked onto the stage, and he was like...
What's he like?
Yeah, he was like... And so that kind of thing, yeah, super spectacular and felt, yeah.
Okay, not so nice thing. 1 month after the Wacken show, do you remember what happened?
1 month after.
Big crash.
Yeah, that's the car crash.
Yeah, in Tunisia. I think I heard something that was all in all pretty like memorable video shoot trip, all in all.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were living in, it was in all kind of senses, that was pretty extreme. I mean, we were shooting a music video in the Sahara Desert. And it's, of course, Sahara Desert, it's warm, it's sand, it's full of bugs, spiders, scorpions, and all nasty
Swedish
stuff.
heavy metal guys.
And Swedish heavy metal guys and camels. And basically as we finished it and we were on our way back, our car hits another car on whatever highway there was there. And yeah, it's a tough thing. I mean, we are in a country where we don't know anybody, we don't know how it works.
To help explaining, we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's in the desert, so...
Yeah. Nobody speaks English.
And nobody speaks English, and it's not the type of place where you just call an ambulance and they show up. Or you don't even need to call, but somebody else call. In this case, we had to kind of improvise ourselves out of there with whatever bribes we could use, whatever contacts we could find in the country to get out of there. And while being pretty beaten up, and eventually getting on the last flight out of the country, blood in the face, no showers, no clean, everybody looking completely messed up, boarding the plane in Tunisia, people looking at us like, what is this? And
well, Swedish heavy metal musicians.
And there are so many stories around this. I mean, when we were waiting for, Joachim was still in the hospital, and you and me, we were trying to delay the plane. So you were like teaching the people at the checking disc how to play drums
with blood,
blood in the face.
I forgot about that.
And I was negotiating with some police officer regarding our equipment, and trying also to stall and be slow and annoying to make sure that they hold the plane. Yeah, so Joachim would make it out of the hospital in time. And we get on the plane, and I think that the other passengers on that plane would be like, what is that? Because I don't think we look like rock stars by then.
It was a sad bunch.
Yeah.
It's actually a funny story now, but back then it really wasn't. So we flew from Tunis to Poland, where we said, we'll meet in the morning. Everybody go to bed and sleep. I don't think anybody slept much.
I slept.
You slept, that's good. On your back then?
Yeah, on my back, absolutely on my back.
You got a few hours of sleep, then we'll rebound in the morning for breakfast or whatever, and we'll see where we go from there. And I think I was the first one up. I can't remember exactly, but this is how I remember it anyway. I come down, but my face was fucked up, right? Because my gums were bleeding and the nose was fucked up. So I go down there, but I'm feeling kind of good anyhow, you know. You're kind of walking bad with the limb, you know, and this hurts. And then you realize, oh, my knee is fucked up too, because you didn't even notice that the whole day before. So eventually I sit down by the breakfast table. I order a cup of coffee, like you do, right? Coffee comes in and it's like, I can't fucking drink this. It's hot. Okay, never mind. Apple juice or orange juice. Yeah. No, you can't have that either. Fuck, I won't have anything. So I'm waiting for the guys. And where I'm sitting, there's an elevator, you know, 50 meters that way, or 10. Out comes the first band member. And it's like somebody's grandma comes out.
Who was
like
it?
Almost with a cane, you know. I think it was maybe Chris, I think.
Broken ribs.
With a broken rib, you know, he's like, he comes and sit down, he's like, coffee, no, never mind, nothing, thank you. And then comes the next guy, you know, him with his face all busted, you know, and next guy after the guy, next guy, you know, and here I am sitting thinking like, one thing I know for sure, we won't be playing a show tonight. That I know for sure. Yeah. But I could, you know, if people could have seen that, just one guy after the other coming out, you know. But hey, we tried our best, but...
Maybe you could have told to the crowd that, okay, we just turned 20 years old, but let's pretend we are 60 years old band.
Exactly.
This is how it would look and sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we actually had that meeting because we didn't want to cancel without knowing how we felt the next day. I mean, especially when you've just been in the crash, having gone through all of that, trying to get, you know, medical care and then getting out of the country, we sort of decided that we weren't going to make any calls. I mean, chances weren't good that we were going to be able to make the show, but we all at least agreed that let's meet tomorrow and see if it's possible, if we can do it, because we'd hate to cancel a show. And it wasn't that day, though, it was the day after the show was planned. But we realized pretty quickly that's like, yeah.
But just imagine the meeting. This guy can't speak. I can't talk. His neck is so fucked up, you know, that he have to sit like this. This guy, every sound he makes, his rib just goes like, bang. And your fingers and everything, you know. It's like trying to, like 5 Wookiees trying to communicate with each other, you know. It was a bad idea. But the video turned out great.
Being positive, that's good.
Yeah, but you have to be.
Yeah, of course. Well, in early 2020, the band was a little bit better once again, and there was a huge European tour, Prague show included, which is on the new DVD Blu-ray as well. Once again, quite big question, I guess, but which are some of the, you know, best memories from that European tour? Some memorable moments anyway.
Well, I totally fucked up on that night because I get nervous when I know we're recording. So I almost missed the solo on Red Baron, the keyboard solo. I was supposed to run, you know, after we've done with that I earn of the last part of the sing-along.
You were on your way home.
I was on my way out stage left where I have my water, where I usually drive. So I'm almost off the stage and then like, fuck! I'm going the wrong way and running like, you know, a madman over to the keyboard. I just made it in time to start playing, you know, the organ solo.
But you hold the Swedish and Czech passport, right? Yes. Both. So how was, I mean, it must be a really special feeling to play in Prague or other cities in Czech Republic.
Yeah, I mean, especially in Prague, since I have so many childhood memories from going there visiting family and stuff, you know, grandmom and stuff. So Prague is like a city I really love because, first of all, I mean, there are Central European cities. I mean, no matter if it's Prague, Budapest, Vienna, there are Bratislava, so many really beautiful cities there. But of course, since I was in Prague always when I was a child, it holds a special place in my heart. And I'm always sort of, my stress levels decrease when I go there. Probably for nostalgic reasons. But
then you go on stage and we're filming, it goes back up.
Yeah, exactly. And then it all goes down. No, so I really enjoy being in Prague. I mean, not only that, I mean, anywhere in Czech Republic, I love the food, I love the beer, I love the people, so I enjoy it.
Let's do some magic now. Are you ready for a Finnish magic?
Yes.
What is this? Aha!
Well, it's souvenirs from Finland. And this is not a paid advertisement, by the way.
No, it's a free advertisement.
I paid these.
You paid for it. Okay. Now it feels a little bit Sabaton cruise.
All right. Skål.
Skål. This is the drink a lot of people drink on the Sabaton cruise.
It's good drink, so why not? And a lot of foreign people don't know that. I mean, it's a Finnish drink, of course, but lots of Swedish people know that, of course. But outside Sweden and Finland and maybe Estonia, it's people really don't know that, which is kind of shame.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Now we're doing advertising.
Every Swedish person who's ever been on a cruise knows it.
Anyway, mid-March 2020, you were in Russia. And when the corona hit and the tour was suspended, or what's the right word? What about memories from that, being in Russia and kind of uncertainty probably about the situation, and is this tour going on, and blah blah blah, all these things. What kind of memories do you have from that?
It was surreal. I mean, we were every day after each concert, everybody was sitting in the hotel lobby and bar, and nobody was really like in a party mood. People were just having some beers and reading on their phones. And then it's like, it was so massive how the news were reported, like, oh, Austria has just shut down. Now there is no more flights in Germany. Oh, there is no, and it was like, everything was just escalating. And then, oh, no more tours. Oh, they just canceled. Oh, all those bands just went home. Oh, and it's like, what are we going home now? No, the show is tomorrow. Oh, it's sold out in a new city. Okay, great. We went on and on and on until every other tour in the whole world was canceled pretty much. And we were still having shows. And it was like, okay. And it seems like the virus didn't hit Russia. And we were still going on for quite some time. And we started to feel like, oh, now there are almost no flights to fly home. Some people, they're coming from America and stuff like that. But okay, but we have a show. And it was pretty surreal. And but eventually it also hit us. And we had to call it, thank you for this time. We hope to come back. And it was a weird last night. We had a dinner in a restaurant with everybody. And we were discussing, like, we're soon back, the summer. By the time the summer hits, we're back on the road. We see each other soon again. Could not imagine. We were sad that we're not going to see each other for the next 3 months. And we could not imagine that it's going to take a year and a half until we saw some of the guys again. And
I mean, we saw each other in between, I guess.
yeah, we saw
But the crew
and some of the crew members that are working with us.
We were a whole bunch of people we didn't see until July this year when we went to Serbia to play, you know.
And and nobody could imagine that. And I mean, it was so weird. Like we were there that night. We were in after the restaurant. We went to a bar, and they had a karaoke. And at midnight, they basically turned off the things, and it all went black. And it was like, then it came. Like, is this some kind of end of the world or whatever? Because from now on, it's like lockdown. It's over. And we're all going home. That was a bit surreal, yeah.
I think. No, but I think Moscow airport going home, for me that was when it really, for me, struck how big it was, because there's nobody there, and that's a big fucking airport. And what are we wearing? Jeans, a t-shirt, and a backpack. And there's 3 guys in bio hazmat suits walking next to you, you know?
It was surreal.
High five. No, never mind. No, but that was weird. Like, there's sometimes, there's a tension in the air and you can almost touch it. It was one of those moments, at least at the airport. Yeah. But other than that, I have very good memories from that tour. Shows were awesome as usual there.
The first show.
We actually got to do some sightseeing in Russia as well.
Yeah.
That was very nice.
Yeah, but the first show, that was quite fun. That was so far away. It was on an island above Japan.
Yuzhno-Sahalinsk.
Yeah, Yuzhno-Sahalinsk, yeah.
And then we had snow.
What?
There was a lot of snow.
There was a lot of snow, yeah. That was so surreal. It's like, are we still in Russia?
Are we still in the world?
Are we still in the world? Yeah. That was, I remember that. That was quite amazing, yeah. And people were actually singing along to the songs. Yeah. I was like, this is so surreal.
Yeah, but it's great. Yeah,
It's one of the most beautiful things, I think. We can go to a place that we had never heard of even 1 year earlier. I mean, obviously we knew there was an island there, but we had never heard the city, I think, at least. And it happened to us several times in over a 20-year career, that you go to a place maybe you haven't heard of before, or you only maybe dreamed of playing one day. And you're coming there for the first time, no matter if it's Yuzhno-Sahalinsk or Detroit, because you grew up with Kiss in Detroit Rock City. And to go there and for the first time, and people are going wild and singing along to your songs. Yeah. So, absolutely amazing feeling.
Yuzhno-Sahalinsk Rock City.
You should make a song like that.
Yeah, we should make a song like that. Rock Island, the Rock. It's a prison island. So it could be the Rock. Yeah.
Well, how about the following weeks when you came back from Russia and so on? How soon did you start making some kind of plans? Maybe we should do the next record sooner than we thought.
Me and Chris started writing music. We didn't go home. We went into quarantine at the warehouse.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Me, Chris, and Kev, our drum tech. We were like, are we infected? Probably not. We feel fine. But what if we caught it during transit? Yeah. You know, because data wasn't widely available about this disease at the time. So we just thought, you know what? Let's go to Falun. Let's go to our warehouse. Make sure we do one shopping run, and be careful and get everything we need. And then we stay for 2 weeks. Then we know if we're clean or not. Then we go home to our loved ones.
Yeah, that was fun.
We boost up.
We boosted up. We made great food. We played Uno.
Yeah, we played. we wrote songs. We wrote Leave Gardet and Royal Guard while we were sitting in there. And we discovered Marbula 1.
Oh yeah, Marbula 1. Yeah, that too. Yeah. Amazing.
No, so wasn't that bad actually.
No, I was good 2 weeks. Yeah, I could have stayed longer. Yeah.
Was that the occasion when you mixed? Was it rum with wine?
No, but that was a little bit later, I think. Rum and wine.
No, that was after the quarantine. Yeah, that was a stupid mistake, or was it?
Oh, that next day I was filming Sabaton history episodes. I haven't been that hungover since the 1990s, for fuck's sake, you know.
That was pretty horrible. Yeah. I bought a plantation rum. Yeah. Was it
70-something percent?
78 or 80%
I don't remember.
Rum. Yeah, 80% alcohol. Right. And we were sitting, and I think we were writing Sarajevo. Yeah. And we were like, I was like, let's cork it up a little bit. So I poured some in a glass, and then we had this Apothic Red box wine. I was like, I think it was you, like, I wonder, because the rum tasted so bad. So we're like, what? It can't be more worse, if we spike it with a little bit of wine.
No, that was your idea, because I said, this one has to be mixed out like you do with whiskey. You drip some water into it, release aromas, and dilute it if you have a really strong
let's
whiskey.
Use wine to do
and Chris
that.
like, we got something else to dilute it with. Look, 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 look.
But the good part was that they just went opposite directions.
They cancel each other out.
They canceled each other out. So it tasted like cranberry juice. So we were like, what the fuck? Did Did we just
We're one step away from a fucking Nobel Prize, motherfucker!
Exactly. Did we just invent a new drink?
Which one of them?
Yeah. So,
Chemistry. Or chemistry,
yeah. So
For sure
we
not
started
literature,
doing
Brian.
that, and we got a little bit drunk after that.
Yeah,
That's
it
when
was super cool. That's
yeah.
one of the reasons that song, Sarajevo, the song
Yeah.
we're talking about, is the opening track of the new album. And that is sort of one of the reasons we went wild with the
Yeah.
sort of solo part into
yeah,
it. You know?
yeah. So yeah,
No.
it turned out great.
Anyway, you wrote Leave Guarded right after the Russian tour, right? Okay, that was one of the standalone tracks that you have been releasing over the, last times. Could you tell a little bit about this decision? Because there's been Defense of Moscow and Leave Guarded and Steel Commanders, these standalone tracks.
The Leave Guard, the Royal Guard was actually, I mean, when we started to kind of work on that idea, we also were in talks with the real Swedish Leave Guard at the Royal Guard of Sweden, and we kind of were supposed to write it as their kind of anthem, but they backed out. They didn't want a partnership with Sabaton, and we were like, okay, we will write it anyway because it's a good story. So we write this song anyway, and we did. And now I think that they're quite unofficially using it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, officially as well. I mean, as I said, it was shut down, I guess, from a political level.
Yeah.
We were a bit too controversial because the people in the Leave Guard, we know they wanted it. And, well, when they said they didn't want in, what are they going to do? Stop us from doing it? No, we did it anyway. And the funny thing is then they backed out of the official partnership of the song. However, a few weeks after the song has been released, Per gets a mail from, was it the K9 division or one divisions from Leave Guarded, when they asked, can we use the song in our, promotional video or something? It was like, yeah, you might as well have joined us from the beginning,
Yeah, so it all went down that way anyway. It was fun. I mean, it was fun. We went into kind of a Swedish mode for a while. We get to dress up like the Swedish Caroleans.
Yeah.
We had
two different music videos.
One where we
Two
were,
very different ones.
Two very different
one
ones,
where
yeah.
we had to fight shadow ghosts, and one where we had to eat and drink a lot. And they were both
Scream
fun.
at each other. Yeah,
And
that
scream
was
at each
yeah,
other.
that was amazing.
Yeah. So we had quite fun in this, like a little bit of a walking out of the Great War era and doing something different. And then after that, I mean, we already was kind of working on the idea of doing the Defense of Moscow. I met the original author of the song way earlier, and he came to one of our concerts, the one where he joined us on stage in Moscow. And he played this song, Defense of Moscow. He played it like, guys, I wrote a song that kind of was very inspired by you. And I was like, okay, maybe we can do this one really cool and turn it around. Like we would cover him instead of him covering us. And
And Tommy did an amazing
Yeah.
job, Sabatonized.
yeah,
Well, thank you.
he made the song very Sabatonized.
With
And
the Russian national
did that too, yeah. That was perfect.
as the solo. Yeah, that was
so that was kind of also a little bit of a sidestep from where we were working at that moment, and and going on even further, we were working on this Steel Commanders, which is like, when did we write that? So long time ago.
17 or 18 was it written in the song.
Yeah, and because the far time and it takes to do a partnership with World of Tanks for creating this, that takes a long time to do everything. And eventually, when we're kind of okay, we're starting to get ready, then we're gonna start doing the scripts and stuff. And I remember I was in Belarus, in Minsk, and the director was there as well. But this was when the corona basically started to come, and I was not allowed to see him. So we were kind of quarantined from each other. It was super stupid. He came from Thailand by then, and I flew in. and we were not allowed to meet because of restrictions.
Yeah.
So we had to sit in different locations and call, but we still had traveled to Belarus. I mean, if we knew about it, he could have stayed in Thailand and I wouldn't need to go there. But and then we kind of, you know, worked on that and the script and taking time. But that's still a long time until we actually started filming it. And we were ready to film it in...
After we were done with we were supposed to do it directly after the Russia tour in 2020 that was cancelled. So all of a sudden we're standing there, and they were gonna launch it at Gamescom, and then Gamescom is cancelled. So the whole project was basically postponed by a year.
Yeah, but eventually by difficult things, again, I mean, we don't give up. We knew it's gonna be difficult and risky and complicated to film it. And like, because there's so many, like one person shows positive on anything and the whole thing is screwed. But we had been sitting still for so long, we just wanted to go out and do something and go film this one. And really, it's also stupid, you know, when you have recorded a song so long time ago and you want to get it out. So we, even though all the complications and difficulties, we made it to Belarus. We even got Tina there, which was like mission impossible.
Yeah.
She didn't even have a passport when we started to work on that. And the visas and all of that, it was like, but we made that. We recorded it and eventually we were able to finally release that song. So that was kind of, yes. And I mean, once we had the Steel Commanders kind of like, now it's there. Then it felt so good because then we knew that we could go directly into, now we're back at where Sabaton, like where we kind of ended with the Great War, and this now comes the war to end all wars. And that's where we are now.
But when everything stopped after that Russian tour, kind of stopped, when did you make the decision about the new album, for example, that okay, this is the schedule and so on? How?
We needed some time because everybody thought that everything is back soon.
Yeah.
And you were working on the Royal Guard, and we didn't. It wasn't until a bit later when we changed the plans because
Probably around late spring, early summer is when we realized this is not gonna be gone overnight. You know, as more data is coming in, you know, we start to learn more about the pandemic and what's happening, and the virus itself. So I guess late May maybe is when probably we started discussing, like, we're not gonna sit on our asses doing nothing. We are gonna. And I mean, it's a luxury situation as well, writing songs. Even if things would have started up again, what's the worst that could have happened? Yeah, we would have had half the album written anyway. So it would shorten the break. So even though we didn't know, we decided, let's start working on a new album and we'll see how long this takes. And the worst case scenario is that we finished a couple of songs and then we resume our touring.
So, because we still had, I mean, by then we still had like shows. We had the US tour that we were looking forward to before it got moved the first time. We also had the postponed Russian dates.
Yeah.
So we were really looking forward to go back, and we were like, but let's start doing something. And but once they were gone, it was like, okay, this ain't happening. I mean, we have to go in and record a full.
Sometimes in the middle of the summer, we made the decision to go full album production mode and book the studio earlier this year, actually.
It's a sad thing. It's a horrible decision to make because I think we were so damn proud of the album The Great War. And for an album to fully, let's say, flower or get to for the fans to properly appreciate it and this, it needs to be experienced over time, it needs to be played live, and we needed to tour an album. And luckily we were able to do at least the first part. We did one American, we did half the Russian, we did European. for the Great War, and a couple of festivals as well. But we had a lot more planned for the Great Tour.
We didn't have time to go to other cities in these territories that we tried to. We were not in Japan, we were not in Australia.
The Pacific, and we were not in Latin America at all. So we had so much left. And it's a sad thing to kind of, not maybe the wrong word to say abandon an album, but to move on when it was unfinished. We believe that the Great War had so much more potential, and we would have loved that more people get to experience that. And the tour was so amazing, sold out pretty much wherever we went, and it was just, there was people wanted to hear the songs from the Great War. And I guess that's also one of the reasons why we decided the topic for the new album. Like, we were not able to complete the Great War, so we will follow in the same tracks.
And also, when making the album, already when we were writing the Great War album, there were so many stories we couldn't tell because we didn't have the right music. Like I say, you actually found an interview just a few days ago when I say, like, you kind of have to abandon some ideas. And one of them I said was like Harlem Hellfighters. I want to tell the story of the Hellfighters. On the interview when we did the press tour for the Great War. Now we were actually able to make that one. And also when we announced the album, we thought we'd read, you know, so much. Well, as we came out with the album and announced the Great War album, Paris mailbox is, you know, filling to the brim with even more fantastic ideas about songs and events that we hadn't heard of. So it was sort of like a home run for us to keep on doing it. There were so many stories we hadn't told that we knew already. And while doing the Great War tour and everything we discovered during that time, stories from that era that belonged on an album.
So you're saying that we need a part 3?
No.
Part 3, part 4,
Part 4? Part 5? 6?
No.
Yeah.
There can be only 5.
Oh.
We already have the theme for the next album.
What is that?
Star Wars.
Oh yeah, true.
No, we have already covered it. We do have the Stormtrooper.
But Joachim, was it mentally any difficult because you had to kind of start writing the songs earlier than you were thinking?
Yes. We had in this lineup of the band, I'm not the sort of only songwriter anymore. Pretty much everybody here has been involved in writing music, which is the first time in Sabaton's history. Not as of now, but I mean a few years back. I did feel, though, it was tricky because it takes a while after making an album before I even am interested in creating music again. We passed that, luckily, but you know, when I get bored, I play around with any kind of musical instrument and I get an idea and I record it, just the idea, to have it later. And then when I'm sitting down, it takes a while to build up a library of good ideas. And now I was starting with half a library of ideas, or maybe almost no library at all, it felt like. Because I was just coming out of that phase where I'd like, I don't even want to think about writing music. I'd just gone back into mentally thinking about other stuff. So it was quite challenging, I'd say. And also to write a song about the Christmas truce in the middle of fucking July without an air conditioner.
Well, you just go to your piano and and something comes out maybe.
I played around a little bit. That song is actually, I think, that song in Bismarck is the ones that has taken the longest active time of writing. I mean, we have several songs that didn't pop up.
Cliffs?
Cliffs of Gallipoli. Yeah, but that's also active. That's why I say active writing. It's like Saboteurs was written, most of it in '99, you know. But it takes time before I touch them again, you know, or we start finishing them. Me and Chris started Attack of the Dead Men for Heroes.
Yeah, writing songs for the Heroes album.
Yeah, and it didn't pop up until Great War.
Yeah.
But we didn't spend a super amount of time on it actively all the time, you know.
No.
When we got back together, we looked at it sometimes.
Yeah.
So
we got stuck in a specific part, and then
we left it.
Yeah, we left it. Yeah.
But Bismarck, and especially Christmas Truce, was a lot of active writing and rewriting, taking parts and throwing them away and redoing it. So that was tricky. But once we actually had that, it was one of the first from the albums, and I was really happy with it. And that's always a good mental thing to have, because you're always doubting yourself. Like, shit, can I still do this? Have I lost it? But then you get that one song that you're really happy with or proud of, and then it starts to loosen up, you know.
And we actually did something unique here with that. We recorded the Christmas Truce not as part of the album. It was done before.
Why was that?
It was, well, partly for the reason that we wanted to feel it. We wanted to feel, does it before Christmas, to feel it like, how does it feel in Christmas times? That was one of the reasons, but also a little bit to test the sound, to test the new sound that we wanted to use.
Also give the, because we're using a different choir than we normally do on that. There's more of a gospel choir on that one instead of the regular choir. So we wanted to have time to
experiment a bit.
To see if we were far out. It is a waltz after all. Sabaton, yeah, you can dance waltz to it. Nobody's realized yet.
But do you dance waltz to it?
I have.
You have?
I have danced waltz to it.
We can talk about this later.
Actually, yes.
Yeah. But as you know, if you ever need to write another Christmas song, and if you need inspiration, you know who to call, right?
Ghostbusters!
No. This dude. He thinks it's Christmas all year long. He's like always the happy guy.
Yeah,
it's Christmas
great
time.
to have him along. He brings the Christmas spirit year round.
Yeah, I love Christmas. Yeah. I mean, for my birthday, I spent the night in a Christmas themed hotel room. Yeah. You know, with a Christmas tree and Christmas present. We were drinking molded wine, and it was this, you know, chandeliers and everything. You know, imagine home alone in one room.
I don't know what's better, you telling it or seeing Hannes' reaction to it. You know?
But just one question: is it Christmas themed all year round?
Yes.
Fucking hell, guys!
Yes.
Well, guys.
You were there too with it.
No, just because my name is in Christmas doesn't mean I was there. Yeah.
So the number of new songs on the new album has been co-written by you guys, Joachim and Chris. Can you tell, is there a typical way how you guys work together, or is it?
Rum and wine.
I think you already did, yeah.
A lot of screaming and a lot of rum and wine.
So shitloads of booze and then something comes up.
No, usually we're actually dead sober. Yeah. We did a little bit of a exception every now and then, but in general, I think it works because we're both very stubborn, and we are both sort of perfectionists. So sometimes we can get locked in a battle of tweaking. How many times did we rewrite the chorus for Last Stand? Changing.
We're sitting for 3 days
almost,
just with the chorus. Yeah.
Going back and forth, but we don't give up, and never would either of us say like, you know what, it's not that important, or you know what, I don't care. We're always constantly doing our best and fighting each other sort of in a friendly way. Yeah. And I think it helps. I mean, competition is good, and I mean, you don't have to be enemies, but to have a bit of friction and be a difference of opinion is good, you know, for the whole working process. I don't thrive in conflict. That's not what I'm saying, but I seriously don't think any working environment should be a smooth, smooth seas where there's never any trouble, you know, and both being able to also take that. Well, that sucks. That doesn't mean I fucking hate you. It means that part you wrote there sucks. Let's try this instead. And then he throws away my idea, and then he puts an idea on the table. It's like, oh, that's really good. And then I go in and tweak it a little bit more. It's like, oh yeah, and then we can do that, and we start to pile up on each other. And I think that's why it works. And we started by maybe wine and rum.
Yeah. Yeah.
You answered a little bit, but I mean about the sound on the new album and
Oh, the recording,
cooperation with the producer, and also those border crossings and studio work was.
I think Jonas outdid himself because, I mean, songs is always subjective, but I mean, it's always sound in a way, but this is the first time everybody in the band was like, wow, super impressed with the sound directly from such an early mix. I mean, we were always happy with the sound in the end, but to get there, everybody had very few changes, you know, already in the first mixes. So I would say, for me at least, absolutely the best sound on a Sabaton album so far.
I mean, it's like, you know, you can get this kind of like huge leaps if you move to another studio or another engineer. But for Jonas to leap that's very impressive. From the, like, the first thing he ever did with us was Bismarck.
Yeah.
And it sounds great, but to where we are now, fantastic upgrade.
Yep.
Also, yeah, I agree. Also for then Bismarck, The Great War Now, second full album, plus a few standalone singles in between. It takes a while to get warm together with somebody you're working this close with for months. But now, going into the process of starting, we're already warmed up with him. I think that helps a lot.
Absolutely.
With expectations from both ways, you know.
He's produced Sabaton before. He knows how hard he can push us as musicians, where to back off, where to push harder. He knows our instruments better. He knows also what kind of things he did with the Sabaton production on the Great War, which sounds very good. I'm not saying it's a bad sound at all, but of course, if he's a critical man, and I know he is, and he listens to it, he learns from his mistake, because there are maybe then things that he thought of as mistakes, and he, took it to the next level, which I think is one of the greatest things about him. Second is he's totally crazy. I love him. He's amazing to work with, but it can be different sometimes. Cinnamon buns.
So yeah, it's a lot of breaks with the cinnamon buns and coffee, and a lot of so yeah. But he's such a cool guy to record with, And sometimes I get a little bit too, what's the word? Too. I can do it better. He's like, if you can't do it better by now, you shouldn't have done better by the first
you would have already.
Yeah, you were already get it. So you can't get it better than now. So yeah.
But he's straight with what he thinks.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to tell us, exactly the way he expects it or wants it. Or...
That's a typical comment from him. Like you're on the other side of the glass. It's like, what do you think, Jonas? It would have been good if you'd done it right.
or like complete honesty. It's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. And then he just do it again. So he pushes you good, And then, for me, one of the best recordings. Super enjoyable, but hard work, for sure.
We split it up, with the COVID situation. We were always only the sort of necessary people there. So first it was me, Jonas, and Hannes. And then we'd go different ways. And obviously I was going into Norway, so quarantine and testing. So I would test even before we came, and then you guys came in. You already had COVID just before we came in, yeah?
Yeah, I had that shit.
You just recovered still.
I died and then I came back.
Still didn't have a sense of smell when you recorded, right?
No. Nothing. Taste, nothing, yeah.
That's a good thing.
With these two fuckers, yeah, absolutely.
No, so then we did guitars and we alternated. Technically, I guess we could have done only one guitarist at a time, but it's such an undynamic way of working. Yeah. We want to,
You need both.
Yeah, bouncing ideas, seeing once you get tired from, 6 hours of recording, it's good to have another one to take over. So they would be there, the three of us with game on the nights.
Oh,
yeah.
that was the best.
That was
That
nice.
was the best.
Some red wine, some PlayStation.
Yeah. Killing zombies. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course the same thing. Sometimes it was then only Per and Jonas and me, and then it would be sometimes only me and Jonas, depending on what it is. Then there's the mixing process, which Jonas did the first part himself, and then I'd come in towards the end, because. Yeah, if you hear the same album and the same production for too long, you start making mistakes, you miss things that are obvious. So I disappeared for a week or two. Jonas would work with it. He gave me the mixes, and then I came. And once I was sort of kind of happy with it, we started bouncing it with the rest of the band, which is how we normally do it, actually. Because then it's really good, because these guys are really critical. But if they had been involved from day one, they would have been fucked.
Destroy, yeah. You need a fresh pair of ears.
Fresh set of ears.
Fresh pair of ears.
Fresh pair in Bel Air.
Fresh pair in Bel Air.
Coming on Netflix next year, and we're super happy to announce it.
It's a follow-up to Fresh Prince in Bel Air.
Fresh pair in Bel Air. So the cat is out of the bag.
The new TV show. There is Sabaton History Channel.
And then
they-
fresh pair in Bel Air.
Play bass.
Son of the fallen, born and raised on the playground.
Know the fucking lyrics as well. Oh my god.
Rhoda.
Oh, okay.
Jag ska göra en sån
Anyway.
cover till Per.
Back to the question.
Yes.
Lots of guitars on the new album, right? Was this Okay, you out. Well, Hannes, lots of drums
Yes,
as well.
actually, funny you would ask
Can we
that.
talk about drums?
Thank you.
How do you,
Let's do your
how do
guitar
you feel about your drum work on this album? I
sucks.
think it's pretty good one. Pretty good stuff.
You want to do drums first? My man. I am super happy about it. Absolutely.
I really
I'm happy
like the
about.
Toms on Soldier of Heaven.
Yeah, your fucking keyboard toms. But I did play over them actually, because otherwise it's like, okay, take a break, and there we go. But,
Well, if you have an 80s song, drums have to sound like that, I
yeah,
guess. So.
indeed. Yeah. I'm happy with the whole production, and including the drums, of course. That would be my first thing to be picky about. But it's cool with Jonas as well, because there's everything to me goes back to simple.
Yep.
He rather than put up another mic, he will take one off if he feels there's no need for it. Which is for me the first time very uncomfortable, because there's so few mics on that kit. But he's a magician, that guy. He knows what he's doing, and we have great Yamaha beautiful drums there. Yep. We can tune them nicely. We can spend the time on getting the sound that we're looking for. Like we spend a lot of time tuning a lot higher, tom-wise, than we did on Great War.
Yep.
So spending a lot of time on getting it the way we want, and analyzing what we didn't, not necessarily didn't like, but what we can do better.
Well, that's still, you say a lot of time. Yeah, it was more than for us a lot of time. But I mean, it says something about you, the equipment as well, if it's the drums and the microphones, and Jonas, that we started on Monday. And when did you go home? Thursday. Yeah. That's including tuning, miking the drums, setting everything up, and recording the whole album. Yeah. And we took our time.
We took our time for sure. But I agree. But though that includes phone calls with Jonas in the weeks before, discussing tuning, talking to my drum tech about how we want to do stuff, what gear, what snare we should use, etc. So I guess in all sense we come very prepared when we actually do it, which helps a lot. We don't stand there like, oh, maybe I want to tune it to C. We know how we're going to tune it.
So Hannes, can I ask something about the guitars now, or?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I love guitars. And hey, you know what? These guys killed it on this album.
Yeah, there's like lots of great solos, C parts, bridges, whatever you call those. I mean, beautiful parts, really catchy ones. Was this intentional? Did you like? Were you about to make more guitar-driven album, or how did this happen?
It was the rum.
Oh, we are back to rum. Okay.
Back to rum. No,
All
no,
right.
I don't know. We just it came naturally, I think, for the songs.
Yeah, it's
And,
about what the song needs.
Yeah, and I don't know. We just try to do our best every time we make an album. Try to top ourselves. It's hard, but I think
It's getting harder every year.
It's getting harder every year. Yeah.
I mean, it's not about playing. This song has more notes than that one, so that one is better. Absolutely not. I mean, you don't need to play guitar riffs all the time. Sometimes, like Soldier of Heaven. I mean, there's not much guitar playing there. It's basically just long chords, but it fits. But then we have another song like Hellfighters. That song wouldn't work without the super mega
ukulele.
super mega ukulele guitar riffs. That built that song. So it all depends on what song, how the song is. Where you can put in some guitar riffs, and if you don't want to add a bunch of keyboards, French horn and stuff like that, you add guitars instead, and you make it fit. I would love some more French horn.
I was about to say. I was like,
I'm sorry.
Shut up. Don't get Tommy started on the French horns.
Yeah. It's cool for me that would do my part. We would do the drums until we're happy with that. I would go home, and then it takes a while until I hear the rest. I get occasional video clips from the studio, which has nothing to do about
the
guitar.
Worst. After you're done, what's happening? How's it
Yeah,
going?
but I love the process.
Send me something. Send me something. Come on.
Well, that's a good
It's like,
sign.
dude, I'm recording right now. Yeah, but send me something.
Yeah, give it to me.
Give it to me. It's like you want to be there with us.
But I love the whole process.
Yeah,
It's my
I
favorite
know.
thing in the world. So of course, But I think that you really outdid yourself on this one, and
you.
so did you, and everyone.
I think everybody did. Yeah.
It's
fucking
really.
did. Yeah, it's a new
It's not
step.
like we had shows occupying our mind.
No.
No, maybe the corona helped to the frustration.
Yeah. Maybe we evolved with the virus, start playing better. I don't know.
You start to practice at home for once.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Came home and
Practice painting the Titanic for 3 fucking weeks.
yeah, for 4 hours a day. But what do you think I did for the other hours?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even want to know.
Yep.
So, what could you tell about the, if you want to call it intro, Sarajevo, and the outro, Warzile, or the opening and the last track? I mean, because they are connected to each other, of course, minor and major things, right?
Yeah.
And special things anyway.
I know sort of how they came to be, and when we wrote them, I mean, we didn't know what we were doing when we started Sarajevo.
No, but you told me like we need something to open up the album. It has to be like a song. It has to be like a full song. But it's not going to be like singing on it. It's
Yeah,
gonna
but
be
that's
more
later.
like-
That's when we were about to finish it. We had already started it before we even knew what it was.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
we started.
yeah,
We had the sort of the chorus and a few more
yeah,
things.
I remember
but then, rum. That's the memory.
Maybe
thing.
it's a rum. Yeah.
No, but because we started that in the quarantine, I think already. That riff, we put it on one side, and then when we started working with it, because it was just an idea, we saved and put aside.
Yeah.
And then, sort of at a later stage, we realized that we wanted to open the album in a different way. And then we started getting wild with all kinds of different ideas.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of spoken word mixed with a real song, because it's not an intro, it's a real song.
It's a real song.
But
yeah,
it's not me singing for a lot of the song.
yeah. It's a spoken word thingy, and then we sing on the chorus. That's about it. And then for the last song, Versailles, when the war ended, we thought like it would be cool if we take that the first song, because it's so minor, it's so dark, you know. You just flip it around. It's the same song, but in
Major.
Yeah. And it turned out really fucking cool. And then at the end, we do a little bit twist on it. And we go back because, you know, war never... Okay, yeah. More beer for me. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how that came to be.
It's a little bit of a different, let's say, approach to it. I mean, full songs, but not Joachim singing. It's a bit...
Well, I am on the chorus.
Yeah.
But Joachim singing much, much less than normally.
Wow. And they...
I still think it's totally... It sounds weird when you speak about it this way, but I'd say anyone who listens to the album will get the idea and really, you know, enjoy it. Because I think it's a really good start and end of the album. You know. It really sets the tone in a perfect way.
It's like a concept album needs something to bind it. And because the songs are not really following a line chronologically, so the songs, of course, are belonging to the same topic, World War I, but they are a little bit diverse, where they come and how they appear on the album. But the beginning and the end ties them all together. This is how the war began, this is how the war ended.
And if anyone who's a Sabaton fan really wants it chronologically, they can make the baddest playlist from hell on Spotify or whatever they're using. They can start with Sarajevo, and then you can look at the Great War and the War to End All Wars, and you can add in Angels Calling, Cliffs of Gallipoli, Lost Battalion, and all the other World War I songs, and you can put them all together. And I promise whoever does that, first of all, I'm impressed that you have that much Asperger's that you would actually go into, or OCD, to go into doing that. And then especially the fact that you will find then that sometimes it's cool, it looks better, it's the cooler thing to say to have done, but it's actually not the best way to experience the music. Because you might have 3 depressing, slow songs after another, and then you have 5 really fast ones coming next to each other. And listening to a music album really has to be a little bit like a roller coaster ride. Yeah. So if we would have put all of these songs in exact chronological order, which would have been, guess what, really fucking easy, but it would have made the album worse for those who still listen to the whole album.
Yeah,
I mean, want to do that.
Angels Calling and Price of a Mile would pretty much end up next to each other. And they would both be a bit like depressive and these kind of things. And so you need the
highs and the lows.
And the dynamics in an album.
Was it difficult to choose those topics that you are writing the lyrics about this time? Because, of course, there's so many stories.
Some are easy. Some were like, okay, Christmas truce. Bang. Yeah. There we go. Hellfighters. Bang.
Yeah, Harlem Hellfighters, I mean, Christmas truce, we talked about doing that for the last 10 years, you know, at some point. But yeah, some of them are really tricky. And there's always, every time, you know, a song or two where we have a few good ideas, or a bunch of good ideas for lyrics, but then it doesn't really match with any of the songs we have left. So we sort of have to dig deeper into the library and to history and see what we can find. But I don't think that was anything exceptional about this album from finding the topics. We had a really good solid ground to stand on. Having done, you know, the previous album was about World War I. We have access to Indy and the guys at Sabaton history, you know, and Marcus was writing, all of that help. We have done it before, and we have, I don't know how many thousand mails do you have from our fans who sent us stuff. I mean, some of it we already knew of course, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't send the, you know, the stuff. But there's a whole lot of stuff that's common knowledge in certain countries that we never heard of. Every country teaches its own history. And if there's something we've learned is to never discount what's coming into Per's mailbox from the fans being sent. Because, yeah, some people say you should write a song about Star Wars.
Which we did.
Which we did
Stormtroopers.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. We caved in finally. But
Yeah.
there are things that are absolutely amazing, and we go, what? How did we not know about this? This is a song, you know.
I mean, one of the last ones was, again, one of the most requested ones. One of the last ones we wrote, The Valley of Death. I mean, and it's quite funny. I mean, I don't know if it was you or me who said it, but a long time ago, we had an interview and we said, Bulgarian history is very interesting, and one day we will make a song about Bulgarian history.
The Bulgarians held us to our word.
they have kind of strangled us for every album we have ever made. Like, where's our song? And okay, here we are. We do another. I mean, after doing the Great War, which we could have included Valley of Death on.
Any song on this album could have been on that song.
And the Bulgarians were very upset with us. Because they're like, now you had your chance. and
fucked up.
And you screwed it.
You had your chance. It's time to die.
But we kept that in the back of our mind, and like, okay, it's time. And this is also very interesting and
Yeah, but we didn't have the right song then.
Not common known.
We didn't have the right song then. We discussed this topic, but it would not have been as good as it is now if we tried to squeeze it onto one of the songs on Great War.
And like Valley of Death, am I right? It might be, it's harder to do that kind of songs lyric-wise because their history might not have, I mean, the information is not basically available in English, for example.
Well, in this case it was.
In this case it was, because they were fighting the British. So.
Yeah, they were fighting the British, but also we had so much fans.
Yeah.
So we had so much information here.
In this case we did, but yeah, in many cases when you go off the beaten track, I mean, obviously we know a whole lot. It's easy for us to read material in Swedish and in English and, you know, possibly Norwegian or Danish.
But sometimes the song speaks for itself. Dreadnought.
Yeah.
It was like.
Paris, when I sent him, he has wrote me back, båtlåt.
Båtsång.
Yeah, båtlåt.
I felt it like, wow, this is a song about ships. I felt it immediately. I just like, that's it. It's a song about ships. And then I hear the rest of the song. It's like, yeah, it's a song about ships. But I just need a okay, it's a ship song.
2 notes.
That's all you need to make a
but that's
båtlåt.
true. Yeah, but to get in the mood. Yeah.
That's the troll dance song.
Oh, is it making a comeback?
Yeah, but it's in odd measure, so you got to switch your leg around.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah. Uh-oh.
Well, there are some crazy people on the album. I mean, like Milunka Savic, or the Unkillable Soldier, for example.
Adrian, yeah.
Who is your own favorite of these persons that are appearing on this new album? Because yeah, but I mean, those stories are just crazy.
It's amazing, yeah.
You mean the events or the people?
I mean, what they have done and so on. Like,
for me, the Unkillable Soldier, for sure. And I don't know, by the time this is released, I don't know if the video is out yet.
Oh, yeah. But that was a lot of...
Oh, my God, yeah.
You know, that really helped with the story, you know. I don't know how much we can talk about.
Yeah, we can talk as much as you want.
Okay. Well, Indy plays, obviously, the main character, Adrian.
Yep.
And he did such a fantastic job, and the whole recording of it was so enjoyable and so much fun. Maybe the most fun we've ever had.
We are not doing it as a hardcore, super serious heavy metal video. We are playing the enemy, trying to kill him, and he will not die. You know.
Yeah.
It's basically a humor video. Yeah.
But the best part.
But with a serious story behind it, of course. But so for me, you know, that kind of really okay, it made it the main role so good, so for sure.
But the best part about that video recording was that we were trying to kill him. We were shooting, and we got so happy, you know, because we got him. We start high-fiving each other, you know. And then he comes to us afterward, like historian as he is. He's like, guys, you know that they didn't invent the high five until 1980. It's like, oh, thanks, man. That's historically
and
not
the guy,
correct.
when you and me are sitting in the trenches and we get the orders from the director, like, what should we do? Check your weapons, you know.
Oh, but be serious. That has to be serious.
Talk a bit,
Yeah,
you know, and then he tells some actors who are playing, you know, soldiers in our, you know, in the same trench as us. You know, you should come down and, you know, start interacting with the boys. So me and me are sitting there, we're talking, and then it's like, hey guys, I can't remember what did he say.
I killed some people.
Oh yeah, I killed some
guys.
Yeah, I killed some guys, and we were like, yeah, that's great. And he's like, no, friendly fire. No, he started off, hey guys, it's great to be doing the video. I'm a big fan of yours, and we're like, happy, thank you. Well, we're in the middle of a shoot. Let's do this later, you know. And then like, so how did it go? No, friendly fire.
Friendly fire. Yeah.
And then you had to go to the airport in full costume.
Oh yeah, the corona test thing or whatever was it?
Corona COVID test. Yeah.
COVID test, and I went in a German World War I uniform, all dirty. People were looking at me like, what's going on here?
That old man. What did he say to you?
Oh,
And then Tommy's mustache number 2.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Tommy's mustache has come back
Oh yeah.
in that
Yeah.
video.
It will be back.
It will be
Don't
back.
worry.
Yeah. Like the Terminator, it will be back.
The mustache will be back.
Come out. Yeah.
Well, that was my answer anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the album number 10. Does it mean something special?
It's the last one that we will ever do. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. No.
The album
I didn't
to
even
album.
actually think about that.
No, me neither.
No, me neither, actually.
I mean, it's like this, you know, you have bands who make few albums, and then you have bands who make tons of them. I think it's not a matter of how many or which one it is. I think it's a constant going on, and I mean, the more albums, for every album we put out something new, and we have new fans who discover us, and we realize that it's not the way that maybe people listen to music the way we are more for some of our bands where we knew every song of everything. There's a lot of people who just come in and take a piece of a band, and they're happy like that. And for every album we do, we get a lot of people who go in and take a piece of us, and they enjoy that. And maybe they don't listen to everything. That's okay. So, but for every album we do, we get a bunch of new people who discover us, and we get to do something new as well. It's interesting and very, very exciting. And it doesn't really matter how many there are ever gonna be or which one is which. I don't think that 10 is more important than 9 or 8 or 25.
No, and the time when they're released, I mean, I think it's our natural natural rhythm with our touring schedule and what we feel comfortable doing. I would not be comfortable being a band who does 200 shows and an album every 18 months, you know. But I wouldn't be comfortable doing an album every 7 years. That would feel like boring.
Or as
In 20 years.
yeah.
I think 20 years is more impressive than 10 albums, to be honest.
Both are pretty
I mean, it's a...
Well, I think actually putting out 10 albums means nothing. If you can make a 10th album that's fucking great, that's impressive. That's the only thing that matters. The quality on the album, what people are listening to. Because I mean, there are a shit ton of bands who have released so many albums, and actually they haven't done anything good since. And then you have other bands like
some names, please.
Oh yes, absolutely. let's make everybody angry. But I'll do the opposite thing. I'll take a band who's been with us since the start of hard rock and heavy metal, like Uriah Heep. How many albums have they made? And still, you know, only a few years ago, I just, grew up listening to these guys. I wonder how they sound on this new album. And it was fantastic.
Judas Priest.
Judas Priest, yeah, absolutely. The Firepower album is one of their best. I mean, it's not good at this point in their career. Firepower, we're talking, for me, top 5 Judas Priest album ever. Possibly top 3, you know.
But also the sense of still enjoying it. I think that plays part of it as well. You know, we're still enjoying being in the studio and doing this together, right? You know, and having fun in the studio, having fun now, you know. I think that helps make a good album. I think it helps make more years in a band. So, yeah.
All right, couple of things left. You mentioned Judas Priest. And there was a tour with Judas Priest, which was probably great fun until it ended in a little bit strange way. Yeah. All in all, a couple of memories from that tour, maybe?
Well, it was a privilege to play, you know, open up for one of the biggest acts in heavy metal. I mean, heavy metal would look so much different today if it wasn't for Judas Priest. Yeah. And to go on tour with them and being treated like equals by one of the biggest bands in the world, that was just a fantastic experience.
I guess we were all sort of, considering the circumstances, we were all prepared that this could end any day. We were doing, obviously, regular COVID testing. We had security precautions in place with, unfortunately, but true, it made total sense. Like, we didn't have any people not on the touring party, on the tour buses, nobody external in the backstage area, so it was a little bit emptier, harder to meet friends and stuff like that. But we, of course, would make every measure possible to make this tour go on for so long as possible. Yeah. So we were all sort of expecting that this could end any time, thanks to a dirty COVID test, or, you know, somebody gets it. And we were prepared for that. Yeah. But Richie being 40 years old and going into, you know, open heart surgery, or 41 or whatever, you know, going into open heart surgery after the show in Louisville, Kentucky, I think nobody saw that coming. And we didn't want it to end there. That's one of the reasons we did that extra show in Denver, because we knew there were a whole bunch of people there who had expected a heavy metal show to happen, you know. And then
it was a weird ending. I mean, we were out walking somewhere in going for lunch, and then I get this call, and it was from our agent, and he's like, "There's no easy way of saying this. Your guys are going home. The tour is over, and this is why." And I was like, "Call me back in a couple of minutes. I need to digest this." And then we went into a restaurant. He's like, "2 beers, please." And
no, 20 beers.
And ended up there, yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, "Is this real?" Like, and then came the email with the statement from Judas Priest. It's gonna go out, and then it's like, so it's really happening. And it was so many things, like so many things going through your head.
What do we know? Is Richie gonna be okay?
And so sad.
Is there anything we can do to make this tour continue? Would he want it to continue? Maybe, you know. So.
Oh, thank God he's okay now.
Yeah.
And we just felt that, okay, it can't end like this. Everybody looked like a zombie that night. And he was like, we all...
The last show on an album rotation cannot be that.
No, and it was like, we can't go home not seeing each other for a very long time, and the last feeling we have is that everybody looks like a zombie. So no, screw that. We do something good to end it. We turn a little bit around it. We make a show where there's no rules. We don't need any opening acts. We don't need any ticket sales. It is what it is. We play there. We got a venue. We walk in and we play for the people who are there, and we just play for fun, and we play something crazy. And we did.
Played for over 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we played the longest show in Sabaton history, and we didn't like. It wasn't so.
I was pretty relaxed.
It was relaxed. It was meant to be that everybody was having fun, that we can go home, and that we can return home and
with a good memory.
Yeah, with a good memory
of how the tour ended, you know. Because for us, this was not only the Judas Priest tour. This was also the end of the whole touring cycle that was already cut short once. Yeah. Fuck no, we're not getting cut off once again. You know, we're ending this on our terms, with a good vibe. Yeah. And I mean, we didn't know. We announced the show 24 hours before it actually happened. Yeah, we don't know. Maybe 150 people will come. Well, it doesn't matter. We're going to have fun with 150 people, and we're going to have a company party. Now it was, I don't know, 1,000 people or something.
It was pretty much packed. It was a smaller venue, though, but it was a fun show, and that is actually, I mean, that's the end of the great tour, right? Yeah. It's where it ended, and.
Now we can do a greater tour.
Yeah, the next tour is starting soon with a bunch of Swedish shows. Yeah. And
well, actually, that's not. Yeah, it's the next tour, but that's not.
It's not the
War to End All Wars.
It's not really the new album tour, and it's not really the great tour. It's the kind of a pre-chorus.
Swedish tour.
Or a bridge in a song.
Bridge tour.
So it is something. The tour was kind of as a substitute or whatever for a European tour. When the Corona came, and we were sitting and seeing measurements and stuff like that. At the time, it felt more safe to do a smaller size tour without crossing borders. So we looked at the country of Sweden, where we wouldn't be crossing any borders, and we were like, how many shows can we do in Sweden? And well, we didn't count it in Stockholm, and then we put in 29 of them, and then we added Stockholm. So it's a pretty interesting tour to do. Maybe it's the last time we're gonna do something like this in Sweden. But it's the first time anybody has done it.
I think it's the first and last time any heavy metal band does 30 shows in 2 months in Sweden.
And probably 30 sold out shows, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That means that we have so much fans all across the country who wants to go to see a show. Yeah. As simple as that.
Times are different now. Not everyone is prepared to travel, you know, for 5 hours, you know, or stuff. So, in a sense, I'm happy. We're probably going to have a lot of people who's never been to a Sabaton show before coming to this tour.
I think we're going to have a lot of people who never been to a show at all. and we're going to play in places where nobody's ever played before.
Yeah, and 90% haven't been to a show in 2 years.
we have... I was just looking the other day at the show in Älmhult, and realizing with the 8,000 people who live in Älmhult and 1,800 is going to come to the show, it's a pretty good percentage of the city's population.
Every fourth person.
Yeah.
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 That's pretty okay.
But imagine the day we can do a show where 100% comes.
Yeah, that's the goal.
That's the goal.
Everybody from the town into the
8,000
show.
people in Älmhult.
Everybody.
Then I guess we have to play in some dictatorship and rule and make the rules ourselves.
I mean, we can play in Aspeboda, where I come from. There's going to be more people traveling there to see the show than actually lives there.
Yeah.
Two more questions. One, the upcoming European tour next spring, is it going to be the biggest one ever? Bigger than the Great Tour, European Tour and so on?
I mean, we always strive to outdo ourselves, and I think that that's just normal for anybody.
Yeah.
So we are preparing something that is even more impressive. We saw that people loved what we did on the Great Tour. And sure, we have more to give. So we just raised the bar a little bit more.
Trickier to make a set list though.
Yeah.
Every year. Yep.
Okay, guys, this is the last one. Judas Priest was mentioned. They were celebrating, or they are celebrating 50 years of metal. Sabaton will be celebrating 50 years of metal in 2049, if I counted it right now. So what's going to happen then?
I'll be 69 years old. I'll be lucky to be alive.
69, you'll be younger than Rob.
Rob Halford is 70. Anyway, what's going to happen when the band turns 50 years old?
Well, I'm gonna be like 40 or something.
Yeah, me 30.
My mid-30s.
Mid 30s. Yeah. Our tour manager, we have to go visit his.
Per will look like Gandalf, so yeah, longer beard and yeah.
So when the when the band is celebrating 50 years, there will be a Tommy's 40th birthday on the tour.
Yeah.
All right.
That's how
Sounds
young
fair.
I am.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can still do it, and hopefully we can do Steel Commanders. You know,
Oh yeah,
Blues version.
yeah.
we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
It's quite easy to say. Can we play when we are this age and we're still having fun? If we are, then
Are we still making a good show?
Then Sabaton is doing great in 2049. So, I mean, I wish we are doing a great show in 2049 as our 50 years anniversary. I have no other saying. We spent enough time in the, let's say, the close to the gods of metal, close to the ones that created the industry and the music genre that we live and love. And a lot of them are way older, and they have been doing it. I mean, the Judas Priest celebrated 50 years, and they're still going. Scorpions, we toured with Scorpions, they also celebrated 50. And they're still going, and they're still having fun. And I think that there is
Maiden is coming up next. They should be 40-something. Unless a band, right?
And I think it's a simple reason why these bands are still around. Because it's just fun. If it's no fun, then it's not happening. So I hope we're still having fun in 2049.
That's a goal.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Off to somewhere else now.
Yes. Yeah.
Yay!
Yay!